So today's video is going to be a full version 6.3 update rundown, but done in a way that actually helps you plan. We're going to talk about the new redeem codes, the pre-download reminder and file sizes, what's going on with the Phase 1 banners, how to approach Columbina, and how to think about pulling without wasting resources. If you've been a bit lost with scattered posts or half summaries, by the end of this video you'll know exactly what matters and what doesn't. Let's start with the easiest win first, because this is something everyone should do. There is a new redeem code available tied to a moon-themed return support event. The base reward from this code is 40 Primogems. Alongside that, you also receive Mora and experience materials, so it's not just Primogems by themselves. The way this code works is similar to previous campaigns Hoyoverse has run. You interact with the official Genshin Impact Facebook bot, complete the short interaction, and it generates a code for you to redeem in-game. This isn't anything new or experimental, and if you've played during earlier lunar or return events, you've probably seen this format before. What's worth pointing out here is that some code tracking sites tend to update slowly. That means there are cases where a valid version 6.3 code exists, but doesn't immediately show up on every summary page. So if you ever feel like you're missing something, it's always worth double-checking comments or official channels rather than assuming the code expired. That's especially true early in a patch cycle. Now let's talk about the pre-download, because this is where a lot of people get surprised every update. On PC, the version 6.3 pre-download is noticeably smaller than the previous version. The core download sits under 8 GB, with the total landing just under 9. That's interesting because the previous patch had a much heavier preload due to internal file restructuring, especially audio. This time around, even with new content, the download size is back to what you'd consider a normal update. If you're on a slower connection, this is one of the easier preloads we've had in a while. On mobile, the numbers are even more comfortable. Most reports place the preload somewhere between roughly 2 GB or less, depending on device and voice pack. That means you're not dealing with one of those situations where you have to clear half your storage just to log in on patch day. It's a very manageable update. Either way, the important reminder here is simple. If you preload early, patch day itself becomes much smoother, especially if you want to jump straight into quests or banners without waiting. Now let's move into the part most people actually care about, which is the banners, starting with Phase 1, because that's where Columbina appears. Phase 1 is very clearly centered around Columbina, and how you approach this banner really depends on whether you're trying to be efficient or you're chasing maximum power immediately. The most important thing to understand is that Columbina works at C0. She is not a character that demands early constellations to function properly. If your goal is to play her during version 6.3 and actually enjoy the content built around her, simply getting the character already accomplishes that. This is where a lot of players overthink things. There's often pressure to go deeper than necessary because a character scales well with investment. Columbina does scale well, but that doesn't mean she punishes you for stopping early. Historically, characters designed this way tend to rerun on a predictable schedule, and Hoyoverse has been very consistent with bringing them back once the initial patch cycle settles. That means there's no real downside to taking the long view here. The weapon banner in Phase 1 is where restraint matters the most. The value of that banner comes almost entirely from the 5-star weapons. The 4-star pool is not built to carry the banner by itself, and that means the risk is higher if you don't already have spare pulls. For most players, especially free-to-play or light spenders, the smarter move is to secure Columbina first, pause, and reassess. If you still have resources left and you're comfortable with variants, then the weapon banner becomes a choice, not a requirement. This pattern isn't new. We've seen it repeatedly in earlier versions where players who rushed weapons early ended up skipping characters later, only to regret it when team flexibility became an issue. Characters unlock playstyles. Weapons mainly refine them. That brings us naturally to the 4-star characters on Phase 1, and this is where expectations need to be realistic. This is not a banner where the 4 stars define the value. They're functional, they do their jobs, but they are not the reason you pull. None of them are required for Colombina to perform, and none of them justify chasing constellations on this banner alone. If you happen to get useful upgrades while pulling for Colombina, that's a bonus. If you don't, you're not missing something critical. So when you zoom out and look at version 6.3 as a whole, it's a patch that rewards planning more than impulse. You don't need to pull everything. You don't need to rush every banner. If you secure Colombina, manage your pulls carefully, and take advantage of early rewards, the patch feels generous and well-paced. Before wrapping up, I'm curious how you're approaching Phase 1. Are you going straight for Colombina and stopping? Or are you considering the weapon banner as well? Let me know how you're thinking about it, because different accounts genuinely benefit from different choices here. And if you want more updates like this, where we slow things down and actually explain what matters instead of just reacting to headlines, make sure you're subscribed. That's all for this one, and I'll see you in the next update.